Let's be honest. For most of us, thinking about money is, well, it's stressful, right? It's confusing. We're told to stop buying coffee, pinch every penny, and then maybe, just maybe, when we're 90, we can finally enjoy ourselves. But what if that's all wrong? What if there is a way to spend extravagantly on the things you absolutely love right now while still building an incredible future? Well, there is. And it all starts by answering one deceptively simple question. So, I have a question for you, and I really want you to think about this. What does a rich life actually look like for you? And I don't mean a vague answer like freedom or happiness. I mean, get specific. What are you doing day to day? Where are you? Who are you with? What does it feel like? You might be shocked to learn that when financial expert Ramit Sethi asks people this exact question, less than 1% of them can give him a detailed answer. Seriously, less than 1%. It just goes to show that most of us have never really sat down to define what it is we're actually working towards. And that is the core of the problem. When your goal is vague, like, I want freedom, your results are going to be vague too. Your spending won't line up with what you say you want. But when you get specific, I mean really specific, like, I want to take 6 weeks off every year to travel to London and Thailand, suddenly you have a target. You can design a financial system that makes that a reality. This brings us to the core philosophy here. It's all about intentional spending. As Ramit says, you should spend extravagantly on the things you love, as long as you cut costs mercilessly on the things you don't. For him, this means he loves amazing hotels and will happily splurge on them. But he couldn't care less about cars, so he drives one that's almost 20 years old. He's turned up his hotel dial and turned his car dial way down. So what about you? So how do you actually build a system to do this? And look, the answer isn't some crazy, complicated spreadsheet that'll make your eyes glaze over. Nope. It all comes down to knowing just 4 key numbers that act like a GPS for your money. Okay, here it is. This is the conscious spending plan. It's super simple. You take your monthly take-home pay and divide it up. 50 to 60% goes to your fixed costs, rent, utilities, the essentials. Then 5 to 10% goes to investments. This is crucial. This is your wealth building engine. Another 5 to 10% for your savings goals, like a vacation or a down payment. And then my favorite part, 20 to 35% is for guilt-free spending on anything you want. This isn't a restrictive budget. It's a roadmap to your rich life. Now, once you know these numbers, you have this shield, a shield against all the bad financial advice and the big detours out there. And probably the single biggest, most expensive detour for most people is the belief that buying a house is always a great investment. Now, don't get me wrong, buying a home can be an amazing decision, but it can also be a financial disaster. The problem is, popular culture just screams, buy a house, without knowing anything about your life. But as Ramit says, for the biggest purchase of your life, you have got to run the numbers for your situation. And when I say run the numbers, I don't just mean sale price minus purchase price. That's what everyone does, and it's totally wrong. You have to account for all the hidden costs, decades of maintenance, property taxes, insurance, all the interest you pay. And the really big one, the opportunity cost. What could that huge down payment have earned if you'd invested it in the market instead? So a good rule of thumb to remember is the 10-year rule. Basically, if you aren't planning to stay put for at least a decade, buy-in is often a bad deal. Why? Because the transaction costs, agent commissions, closing costs, all that stuff, are massive. Staying for 10 years gives you time to spread those costs out so they don't eat up all your potential gain. And look, the numbers don't lie. History is pretty clear on this one. For the last 100 years, housing values have basically just kept up with inflation. That's it. But the stock market, well, as you can see, it's not even in the same league. It's not even close. Okay, so if buying a house isn't the guaranteed golden ticket, then what is? What's the real engine for building wealth? The good news is, it's way simpler and more accessible than you've been led to believe. And yeah, it's a little boring, but boring is where the money is. For most of us, the answer is something called a target date fund. And before you tune out, this is super simple. Think of it like a set it and forget it portfolio in a box. It's one single fund that automatically invests in hundreds of companies, so you're diversified instantly. And the best part? It automatically rebalances and gets more conservative, or safer, the closer you get to your retirement date. So how do you do it? It is literally 2 steps. That's it. Step 1, you pick a low-cost fund, like a target date fund for the year you think you might retire.
Step 2, you set up an automatic transfer from your bank account to your investment account every single month. That is the whole game. Set it, forget it, and let it do its thing.
And this is a really important mindset shift. True investing isn't what you see in the movies. It's not some guy yelling, buy, sell into a phone. Real investors know that wealth is built slowly. It should be boring. It's like putting a turkey in the oven. You don't open the door every 5 minutes to check on it. You let it cook for decades. And that boring, hands-off approach is what lets the eighth wonder of the world do its job, compounding. Just look at this. You start at age 30 investing just $400 a month. By the time you're 40, you could have around $73,000. Keep it going. At 50, that's over 220 grand. And if you let it cook until you're 65, you could be looking at over $820,000. That's the incredible power of consistency over time. Okay, one last point, and this one is so important because it's completely counterintuitive when it comes to money. Let's talk about fees. Say you're working with a financial advisor and they charge you what sounds like a tiny fee, just 1%.
Just 1%. It's nothing, right? I mean, what's 1%? It sounds totally harmless. What damage could that possibly do over your lifetime? Well, prepare to be shocked. That little tiny harmless 1% fee doesn't just cost you 1% of your money. Over a lifetime of investing, it can devour up to 28% of your total potential returns. 28%. Gone.
And this is one of the weirdest things about investing. In almost any other part of life, you pay more, you get better quality. A better car, better food, a better hotel. But in the world of investing, it is the complete opposite. The more you pay in fees, the worse your results are likely to be. You get what you don't pay for. Okay, so let's tie all of this together. The spending plan, the automated investing, dodging the myths, all of these things are just tools. Tools that lead to one big, powerful idea. You get to be the architect of your own rich life. So here's your toolkit, the simple, actionable steps to start building that life. First, define your rich life in vivid, beautiful detail. Second, figure out your 4 core numbers for your spending plan. Third, set up your automated, low-cost investments. Fourth, always run the numbers on huge life decisions. And number 5, maybe the most important of all, get out of the spreadsheet and go live your life. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. This whole system is designed to run quietly in the background, so you don't have to think about it. The goal isn't to become obsessed with numbers. The goal is to use money as a tool to live a life that is truly and intentionally rich, on your own terms.
So I'll leave you with this question. Not tomorrow, not next week. What's the one thing you're going to do today after hearing this? Are you going to finally write down what your rich life looks like? Are you going to calculate your 4 numbers? Or are you going to open that investment account and set up that first automatic transfer? It all starts with that one decision. The choice, as always, is yours.